Twala also confirmed when he spoke to this program a little earlier that an investigating officer had been in touch with his son, and he thinks it's more than likely that Longwe Twala will be called to the witness stand to share his version of events and what happened on the night that Senzo Meyiwa was killed. So we're 7 months into the murder trial. So far, 2 witnesses on the stand, 2 dockets, plenty of drama and delays, very few answers. So for Meyiwa's family, it must be a really excruciating process to go through. So let's speak now to AfriForum, which of course represents Senzo's mother and other family members. I'm joined by Barry Bateman, spokesperson for AfriForum's private prosecution unit. Barry, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to ask you to take your AfriForum hat off for a second and put back on your old, probably quite dusty court reporter hat. You were a court reporter for many, many years. You know the rules of what to do and what not to do in court. Today we saw the media chucked out of court for a second time. So the first time, I think it was because certain members of the media were chasing down Meyiwa Murder, who's still on the stand as a witness, and kind of cornering him. And today the media were chucked out because it seems inadvertently the cameras got a shot of Meyiwa Murder and he's a protected witness. So talk to me about what you think is going wrong here, Barry.
Well, Sal, I've got 2 approaches to this. And firstly, let's look at it from the journalist side. You have to be careful. If you're going to be in that courtroom to report, you have to appraise yourself, acquaint yourself with the order that was handed down by the court. I mean, a lot of the times, particularly with the live cameras, we see a rotation, different staff coming in, different cameramen on different days and different weeks. They need to make sure that they're aware of what the order is and what they can and cannot show. So I'm not exactly sure of all the facts of what happened today, but if you suggest it was inadvertent, it might have been somebody who wasn't too familiar with the order that was previously handed down. It's simply unacceptable. But that said, Sally, I do think that the way the court handled this was incorrect as well. It was a form of collective punishment. If an individual had broken the rules that had been set down, you deal with that particular individual. By ejecting the entire media contingent, it offends and undermines the principle of open justice, which is enshrined in various aspects of our Constitution. This case has taken on such a massive public profile. It's an important part of the justice process that the public gets to see justice being done. So instead of taking action against the one particular individual journalist who might have transgressed, to take action against the entire contingent, I think is unfair. And quite frankly, I think it undermines that very principle of ensuring that our courts are open to the public.
Yeah, and just to give you the background that I got from Steve Masikane is that we operate on a system where the 3 major television broadcasters contribute to a pool feed. So each week a different broadcaster will have an opportunity to do the camera work. And it's exactly what you're saying. If there's a constant rotation of different camera people, they might not be completely aware of the absolute sensitivities of this particular case. But of course, we'll hear more on that tomorrow and whether the media is allowed back into court. So at the moment, we've got the second witness on the stand, Meyiwa Murder. He was in the house, a friend of Senzo, and we're seeing that the defense advocate, Advocate Mshololo, who represents witness number 5, she's really trying to discredit him. That's her job, to pick apart his testimony. And we know that he has said that he recognized one of the suspects in the dock, suspect number 2, not her suspect, number 5. So it is moving along. But Barry, we have seen so many delays, so much side action. I'm just wondering, have you got a sense of how much of the trial we've covered? How far we've still got to go?
Sally, we've still got an extraordinary way to go. We're just touching on this. This is witness number 2, as you indicated earlier. I mean, we were hoping on Monday we would start back off where we left off, but immediately we had to deal with some of the side matter involved with a watching brief for somebody who's potentially a witness, potentially a suspect. That's a contentious issue in itself. But the point is, instead of getting stuck into the case when matters resumed on Monday, at 10 o'clock we got distracted with the side matters. We only got going at about 11:15, quarter to 12. So there's another hour and a half that we're lost to matters that aren't central to presenting evidence and getting along with the trial. we've said this before, Sally, and we believe this is where it's going to become really critical, is when the expert witnesses come to testify. Now, we've said it that we believe that the police do, in fact, and the state, rather, does, in fact, have the correct accused before the court, and that there is compelling evidence that will link these accused to the crime scene and to the crime that was committed. We're quite encouraged that once we get to that evidence, the expert evidence that will be led by the police, that we might get and move this case a little bit faster. But to get there, Sally, we don't know how long it's going to take.
Talk to me about the family. I know that AfriForum is certainly representing Senzo's mum and I think a couple of other family members, not all family members, it must be noted. But how is the family doing?
Well, I think it's this delay that is certainly frustrating, and it's frustrated for us as people who are supporting the family, you know, Mr. Nell watching as well in our team. But for them, it's something different. It's this long quest for justice and this constant delay and these side issues. It's frustration. But on how the family is doing, you know, we met Monday morning. They'd come up from KwaZulu-Natal. We spoke. We understand Senzo's mother is doing well. Which is encouraging. Of course, she's getting a lot of support, and you know, our investigator Slang Mangwale, he's often in contact, even in those periods when the trial is not sitting, just to make sure that the family is doing well and keeping them abreast of whatever developments we might hear. So we're satisfied that at least Senzo's mom is doing well. We've got the sisters up this week as well. They're going to be keeping a close eye, but we just hope that things would be going a bit quicker.
So my understanding is we've got another 2 weeks after this week. What happens after that? Because it doesn't sound like the trial's going to be done by then.
No, we're going to have to break for another. You know, court is going to go into recess over December. We'll have to come back sometime when all the parties can agree when the matter can resume again. So it's going to be another lengthy wait, Sally, and let's hope that when they do schedule the dates for next year when the matter resumes, that we can get an extended period, that we can sit for at least 2, maybe 3 weeks, and we can put our heads down and focus on presenting as much evidence as possible and hopefully get to a point where we can move across, close the state's case, and hear what the defense has to say.
All right, absolutely. Thank you so much. Barry Bateman, spokesperson for AfriForum's private prosecution unit.